about it. Now, when it comes to today's class, we have wasted a lot of time. So let us continue the class. So we have learned about relating the parameters that describe motion algebraically. Okay, let us say displacement or position vector, when they are differentiated, okay, we get velocity, and if you differentiate the distance traveled, okay, which is given as a function of time, if you differentiate that, then you will get speed, instantaneous speed again. And if you integrate acceleration, you will get change in velocity. Okay, all such things we have already seen yesterday. Okay, so if some of you are little confused about acceleration and all, let me just discuss that. So acceleration, by definition, a bar is equal to dv bar by dt, and dv bar is equal to a bar dt integral. Now the velocity, okay, is changing from something initial, that is u bar, to something final, that is v bar. Okay, is equal to some, let's say t1 to t2, whatever it is. Okay, at t1 if the velocity is u bar, at t2 if the velocity is v bar, then integral dv bar, which is going from u bar to v bar, is equal to integral a bar dt, which is going from t1 to t2. So this tells you that integral dv bar is nothing but v bar only. That vector is taking a final value of v bar, initial value of u bar. So this is how it is. Okay, v bar minus u bar is equal to integral a bar dt from t1 to t2. So the integration of acceleration gives you the change in velocity. This is okay, the relation between velocity and acceleration. Okay, in calculus manner. From calculus point of view. Okay, and integration point of view. A differentiation point of view, it is this, that a bar is equal to dv bar by dt. Okay. Now the same thing, okay, whatever we have done so far in the algebraic fashion, we have to get into graphical way and accordingly analyze the things. Okay, so let me do that now. So we know that velocity is rate of change of displacement with respect to time. Okay, so d bar is equal to df bar by dt. That is the equation. Now, actually speaking, it is not so easy to draw vectors on a graph. Okay, we cannot really put vectors on a graph, because graph simply consists of, okay, some units on the, actually dimensionless units on the x-axis and y-axis. Okay, just gets it just has, all it has is division, that's all. Okay, so one division on the x-axis, if you take lengths, then it may be 1 centimeter, or you can think of it as 1 meter. You know how to scale things also. In your childhood, you would have learned that, okay, how to graph, how to take things on graph. Okay, on the graph you draw something. Now, each unit on the x-axis, if you take it as 1 meter or 1 centimeter or 1 kilometer, okay, or sometimes, okay, 1 second or 1 minute or 1 hour, like that. So based on your scaling and your idea of the graph, how to actually depict it, the thing changes. But you have to understand one thing. On the graph, we can only depict the magnitude. We can never say, we can never, like say, talk about direction on a graph. Okay, when you are plotting y versus x, okay, so you are plotting the magnitude of y, the value which is corresponding to y, and magnitude of something that is corresponding to x. Only that you can plot. You cannot really depict direction on a graph. Of course, on a board you can depict direction. You can say, okay, I will consider that side as east, that side as north, this side as west, this side as south. Accordingly, you can draw vectors along east, west, north, south, or south, east, south, north, west, whatever you want. But when you are talking about a graph, you are basically diagrammatically representing the relation between two variables. And that relation, what we are talking, okay, suppose while the independent variable that we generally draw on, that we generally take on the x-axis, and is a scalar. Generally, the independent variable that we take on x-axis, like time and all, is a scalar. Now, on the y-axis, if you put, displacement or velocities like things, they are vectors. Now, on one single axis, that is y-axis, how can you place direction as well as magnitude, two quantities? It is not possible. And therefore, remember one thing, if we are plotting displacement versus time, we are plotting velocity versus time, then we can do that only when the velocity or displacement, these things are one-dimensional vectors. One-dimensional vectors. Okay. So, S bar versus T can be S bar versus T can be plotted on a graph only when S bar is a one-dimensional vector. Okay. Why so? If suppose S bar is a vector which is only in the x direction, then we can disregard the vector notations by simply thinking that anything which is in the positive x direction is plus, positive, and if it is in the negative x direction, it is negative. Okay. So basically, forward is positive, backward is negative. Okay. Suppose if the displacement is 10 meters forward, I will call it as plus 10. If the displacement from the initial position is 10 meters backwards, okay, then I will call it as minus 10. So simply by using plus and minus, we can actually represent the vector, nature of the particular quantity. Okay. So the vector nature of the quantity, that is displacement here, can simply be, okay, considered by taking the sign, okay, as plus or minus, depending on if it is forward then plus, backward then minus. Taking like that, we can depict the vector nature of this quantity displacement, okay, easily by taking the sign convention. And therefore, then it will become a simple scalar quantity, but with a sign convention. Okay. Then if the displacement can be treated as now a scalar quantity, time is anyway scalar, both can be plotted on a graph. So remember one thing, if suppose somebody gives you displacement time graph, like that. Somebody gives you displacement time graph like that, it does not mean the particle is moving along this path. Okay, it does not mean the particle is moving along this path. The particle should be moving only along a straight line. But its displacement as a function of time can be a nonlinear function. There is nothing wrong in it. Okay. So what I mean to say, I will tell you. Okay. So let me move in a straight line. Okay. So at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock, I am here. Okay. And at 11:10, okay, I move some 1/4 distance. Then by 11:20, I am outside on this side again, okay, on the other side. So basically, I have moved 1/4 of the distance in 10 minutes and 3/4 of the distance in the next 10 minutes. 3/4 of the distance in the next 10 minutes, okay. Now, this is a non-linear behavior. Linear behavior means, okay, if I move 1 minute, some distance in 10 minutes, in the next 10 minutes, I will be moving the same amount of distance, okay. That is linear behavior. However, if you carefully observe, I have moved in a straight line only. Whether I move equal distance in the first 10 and next 10 minutes or unequal distance in the first 10 and next 10 minutes, in both the cases, okay, maybe my movement with respect to time is non-linear. Okay, first 10 minutes I have moved x distance, next 10 minutes I have moved 3x distance. Okay, that is a non-linear behavior with respect to time. However, I have moved just in one direction. That means I have moved in a particular direction. That means I have moved in one dimensional way only. Okay, because to describe my motion, all I require is my x position. Okay, because I am not moving in the y and z directions. Okay. Now, the displacement versus time graph can be like this, but it still means that the particle is moving along some straight line if you have plotted the displacement versus time on a graph. Okay. Now, what it tells you is that the speed is not a constant. For example, if displacement time graph is a straight line, if displacement time graph is a straight line, then I will say that the velocity is a constant. Okay. Here the velocity is not a constant. Okay. But once I plotted the displacement time graph, okay, it means that the particle is moving in one dimension. Now you may ask me, then what will you do with 2-3 dimensions? If the dimension, the particle is moving in 2-dimension or 3-dimensional way, will you stop plotting displacement versus time graph? No. What I will do is, if S bar is a 2-dimensional vector or 3-dimensional vector, if S bar is a 3-dimensional vector, then I will write S bar as Sx bar plus Sy bar plus Sz bar. That means I will split the displacement along 3 directions. Okay. Every time whenever I take displacement, I will take 3 components along x and y and z, and each of them I will plot separately. Basically, Sx bar is nothing but Sx into I cap, Sy bar is nothing but Sy into j cap, Sz bar is nothing but Sz into k cap. I can split the displacement in 3 mutually perpendicular directions like this, and I can plot each of them, okay, with respect to time. Then I will have 3 graphs. Sorry, Sx versus t. Sy versus t. Sz versus t. Okay, I know something has gone out of the reach for the webcam. One moment. Just a moment, I'll adjust it. Okay. So now this is okay, how I do when I have a 3-dimensional vector instead of a 1-dimensional vector. Okay. Now you may ask me, okay, I have seen some XY plots and all. Okay. Then what about that? So actually, there are 2 types of plots typically we get. One plot is S versus t or x versus t, y versus t, like that. If the particle is moving along x direction, then x versus time graph may be there. If the particle is moving along y direction, then y versus t graph may be there. If the particle is moving along z direction, then z versus t graph may be there. Or simply s versus t we can say. And we get y versus x graphs also sometimes. Particularly next week when we are discussing projectiles, that time we may get a graph of y versus x, okay, which will be like a parabola, as some of you know. Now, so basically, it is our wish to plot, okay, what we want. We can plot the graph versus an independent variable called time, or we can plot, okay, we can find a relation between y and x, and we can consider x as the independent variable, and accordingly plot y versus x. We can do anything that we want, okay, so long as you can relate two variables, you can plot a graph against one against the other, okay. However, you have to carefully understand what is the graph of and what is the graph being plotted, and accordingly answer the question, okay. See, for example, for two-dimensional motion, if somebody says the graph is like that, y versus x graph, so a particle is moving in the xy plane and its y versus x graph is given like that. Now please understand, this is actually the path. This is actually the path, because, okay, it is clearly giving you all the positions xy of the particle. Any point here is x comma y. So it is giving you the collection of the positions of the particle over time, but is not giving you any information at what time it will reach here. It is not giving any information at what time it will be at, various points, but it is just giving you that if this is x, this should be y, like that. That is nothing but the graph of the path. So this is the graph of the path actually. Okay. So the path trace here, definitely one can say that the particle is not moving in a straight line, because this is the path which is not a straight line, obviously. Okay. Now, but on the s versus t graph, okay, we are not really bothered, okay, how the particle, we are bothered. We can draw this only if the particle is moving along one-dimensional motion. If the particle is not moving along straight line, we have to draw two of these. A single s versus t graph can never depict a two-dimensional motion. You will have to draw x versus t and y versus t, both of them. Only then you will be able to satisfactorily, okay, depict the entire two-dimensional motion. So these things you must understand before we get into, okay, the graphs, okay. In fact, you can write also. I will give you some points. Please write. All of you, please make a note. As I said last week, starting with kinematics, we will have to make you write notes. Otherwise, you will forget things. A graph is drawn. A graph is drawn for a dependent variable versus independent variable. For a dependent variable versus independent variable. For a dependent variable versus an independent variable. only when either both are scalars, or can be considered as scalars, or can be considered as scalars. One-dimensional vectors, below that you write, okay. One-dimensional vectors can be described well with scalars having sign convention. With scalars having sign convention. That is the next point. I mean, you please write this point below the previous point. Okay. Okay. Below that you write, in the one dimension, if forward is chosen as positive, backward shall be treated negative. If forward is chosen as positive, backward shall be treated negative, or vice versa. That means if backward is chosen positive, forward shall be treated negative. So remember this, only one-dimensional vectors can be plotted on a graph. Okay, when you have like vectors of higher dimension, then it shall be they shall be always at any time they shall be resolved into components, and each component shall be plotted against time. That is the idea. Now, one more thing is this time, okay, calculation, I mean our time consideration. Typically we say t equal to 0. T equal to 0 does not really mean time is really 0, okay. It is basically that we have started observing from that time, okay. So time can always be reset, okay. I mean, why I am saying this is, in all the equations that we are going to write, okay, time is mostly going to be the independent variable, and you will always be confused as to, okay, what to put in that particular equation. Okay, as you know, if we have equations like s is equal to ut plus r square, which will derive in no time now, there the time is t is the time elapsed. So suppose if you write that equation s equal to ut plus r square, if you use u, the initial velocity at t equal to 10, then the time is 3 seconds. It is neither 10 nor 13, because the time elapsed between t equal to 10 and t equal to 13, that is 3 seconds. So what is the time we are using in our equations and in our graphs? You should be very careful with it. That idea, okay, I mean, I have cautioned you now, but the idea I will give you as we progress. Okay, as we go more and more into the different topics, I will let you know, in each formula or in each expression what is the t. Okay, that should be very clearly, okay, taken. So that is the understanding. Now we shall proceed on to actual work. Okay, so Let us first understand displacement versus time graph. So, if you are given some displacement versus time graph like this, it means that the particle which is moving along a straight line, okay, has gone forward and then come little backward and again gone forward, came little backward and again went forward. So it's not like it has gone like this. It has gone straight only. It has gone forward and then came little backward, again gone little forward, little backward, again gone forward, okay, like that, along a straight line only. That observation, whatever we have made over time, we are depicting on a graph. Now, if displacement versus time graph is given, how do you find velocity? That velocity is the rate of change of displacement and it is ds bar by dt. And since they are one-dimensional vector, these bars can be disregarded because it is okay. Our s will be like a scalar but with sign convention like that. Okay. Now, this ds by dt on the graph, what is the meaning of that? I already told you in the chapter of basic mathematics that ds by dt, dy by dx is the slope of the graph y versus x. Here the graph is s versus t. You have to be careful, okay? When you are taking the differential and its meaning in on the graph, you must be careful that if suppose this is s, this is t, here also this should be s, this should be t. For example, if I give you t versus s, then ds by dt is not the slope. Okay, that slope, ds by dt will be what and which slope should be taken, how should the slope be taken in that, all that I will tell you. But the point is, you have to understand if you have dy by dx, this should be y, this should be x only, then the slope of the tangent will be dy by dx. If this is s, this is t, slope of the tangent will be, okay, equal to ds by dt, there is nothing wrong. Okay, if s versus t graph is given, slope of the tangent here gives you the magnitude of velocity, or velocity actually we can simply say, because it's only one dimension. Okay, so that velocity is a slope of s versus t graph is now established. Okay, velocity is the slope of displacement versus time graph. Velocity is the slope of displacement versus time graph. Okay, now what all we can comment based on that understanding and this graph. Okay, let us see. Now if you see carefully, and slope of the tangent, how do you find? Draw the tangent first. Take the angle with the x-axis, the horizontal axis, which is time axis now. If that angle is theta, tan theta is the slope of this tangent. So here theta is positive, so tan theta will be positive. So here I can say the velocity is positive. What is the meaning of this? The particle at this time, at this particular time corresponding here, this is t1. At time t1, the particle is moving forward. The particle which is moving along one-dimensional motion, it is moving forward. One dimension is simply straight line motion, please understand. Moving along a straight line is called the motion in 1D. Now, consider this time t2. What is the tangent here? It's like this. So as it can be seen, the tangent seems to be making zero angle with the time axis, so the slope is zero there. That means the particle is at momentary rest at that point. That means the particle has gone forward, it has stopped for a while. For a moment it has stopped. That's why the slope of the tangent is 0. Here the velocity is 0 at t2. Okay. And thereafter if you see the slope, it happens to be negative. Okay. Because the angle with the time axis is negative now. Down. What is the meaning of that? At this time, the particle is actually having backward velocity. So basically the particle was moving forward and moved little back, I told you already. So we are at that time when it is moving backward. So our instant of time that we have considered at the third instance, there it is at some instant when it is coming backward. So when we get the slope of this ST curve negative, what we realize is that the particle is moving in the backward direction. Displacement itself need not be negative. It is still positive. Why? Because displacement is measured from the initial location. You have gone forward only. Although right now you are coming backward, that means your displacement will decrease. That if your velocity is negative, does not mean you will be behind the initial position. You are ahead of the initial position only, but for a moment you have come, you have tried to travel backwards. So velocity tells you, whether the displacement is going to decrease or increase. It is not going to tell you whether you will be behind or ahead of the initial position. Whether you are behind or ahead of initial position is decided based on the displacement. If the so long as the displacement is positive, okay, whether it is decreasing or increasing does not matter. So long as the displacement is positive, that means you are ahead of the initial position. If you take forward as positive. So that is the idea. So when you are given displacement time graph, at any time, if you are asked to find the velocity, first locate the time on the time axis and go up onto the graph at that time, draw a tangent to the graph at that particular location, then slope of that tangent will give you the velocity at that particular time. Now these points, some students are particularly not so strong about these kind of things, so I have to dictate them. I will dictate them, all of you please write now. If S versus time graph is given, if displacement versus time graph is given, and velocity at a particular time is asked, velocity at a particular time is being asked. Then go to that particular time on the time axis. Go to that particular time on the time axis. And move up to the graph. And move up to the graph. Then draw a tangent to the graph. Draw a tangent to the graph. Okay, find the slope. Find the slope of that tangent by taking angle with time axis and taking tan theta. By measuring angle theta with the time axis and finding tan theta, find the slope of the tangent. That slope is the velocity. The slope is the velocity. Where the value gives speed. I mean, suppose if the slope comes out to be -2. 2 is the speed. Where the value gives the speed, and the sign suggests the direction. And the sign suggests the direction. So if the suppose if it comes out to be -2, it means that the velocity is the velocity has a magnitude of 2. That means speed is 2, and the particle is going in the backward direction. Suppose if you take forward as positive, then the particle is going in the backward direction. For example, if you originally choose backward to be positive and you get the velocity to be negative, which means actually the particle is moving in the forward sense. Okay. So essentially, whenever you are discussing about the one-dimensional motion, you will first choose which direction is positive, which direction is negative, and then you will draw all your graphs, everything, and then you will make all your calculations. And based on whatever you get in the calculations and your original sign convention, you will decide, okay, about the vectors. This is how we work around with the one-dimensional vectors by using sign conventions. That is what we do. Okay. Now let us proceed. Now, next thing is, what if we have a velocity time graph? This is very important. Please understand, if I say velocity time graph, I am describing 1D motion only. Okay, because if it is 2D, 3D, then we have to write Vx versus t, Vy versus t, Vz versus t, like that. Now, if I am given velocity time graph, something like this. Actually, in displacement also I could have drawn similar graph. Displacement can be negative, nothing wrong. If we are behind the initial position, if the particle has gone forward and then came backward also, then in such a scenario, displacement is initially getting positive, and it is decreasing again to 0, then it is becoming negative. All that is fine. Displacement can be negative, distance can't, and distance can't even decrease also. I will discuss that in some time. Once I am done with displacement, velocity, acceleration, I will go to distance and other things also. Okay, don't worry. Now the point is, if we are given velocity time graph like this, it is fine. But speed versus time cannot be like this, because speed cannot be negative. Please understand that. Okay. Since this is velocity time graph, it is fine. Maybe we are describing the velocity time graph in a one-dimensional motion. Okay, only then we can draw a graph like this. Now, here we know that displacement is integral v dt. Displacement in the interval t1 to t2 is nothing but integral v bar dt from t1 to t2, and acceleration is du bar by dt. Please understand, differentiation is generally evaluated at a particular instant, whereas integration is always evaluated over an interval. Integration is taken over an interval, differentiation is taken at a particular instant. Okay. Now, suppose if you want at any instant what is the acceleration, then suppose at this instant of time I want the acceleration. Go to the graph, draw a tangent, find the angle theta and then tan theta, that is the slope of the tangent. The slope of the tangent there gives you the acceleration at that particular instant. Okay. Now, for example, instead of this, if between two instants in the interval t1 to t2, I want what is the displacement. Then, according to the graphical understanding of integration which we discussed in basic mathematics, the area under the curve with the time axis is integral vdt. Integral vdt is the area under the curve of velocity with respect to time. Or the area under the curve of velocity versus time with time axis is nothing but integral vdt according to our understanding of integration from the chapter of basic mathematics which we have dealt with 2 weeks back. Therefore, if I want the displacement in the interval t1 to t2, I have to first note those instants on the time graph. I have to first take those instants t1 and t2 on the time graph, then take the area under the graph, okay, velocity time graph with the time axis, then only this area gives us the displacement in the interval t1 to t2. So displacement, okay, can be achieved from the vt graph by using area under the curve with time axis. Acceleration can be, okay, achieved by taking the slope. Write down. When velocity time graph is given, displacement in the interval t1 to t2, displacement in the interval t1 to t2 is calculated using is obtained using whatever. Calculate using S bar is equal to integral v dt with t1 t2 you put as a limits. S bar is equal to integral v bar dt t1 to t2, which means on the graph we shall select t1 and t2 on the time axis, on the t axis, and find the area under the curve between t1 and t2. The area will be the area is the displacement in the interval. Area is the displacement in the given interval. And acceleration can be found by finding the slope, because already about slope we have given a clear description in displacement time graph also, so I don't want to repeat the same. Acceleration can be found by finding the slope of tangent. You can simply write that one statement, that is enough. So that is about displacement and acceleration when velocity time graph is given. Next is when acceleration time graph is given. If you are given acceleration versus time graph, something like this, as an example I am taking, there is no need to find a slope here. Most of the time we are not asked about a versus dA by dt and all, but we know that if v bar is the velocity at time t2, u bar is the velocity at time t1, then v bar minus u bar is given by integral a bar dt. So to find the different change in velocity, we can simply take the area, okay, under the graph with time axis between t1 and t2. Okay, so write down when acceleration versus time graph is given. When acceleration versus time graph is given, area under the graph in the interval t1 to t2 is found. Area under the graph in the interval t1 to t2 is found to obtain the change in velocity during this interval. To obtain the change in velocity during this interval. I think the clarity has gone bad. Okay. Area under the graph in this interval is found to obtain the change in velocity during this interval. Okay. Now, let me explain why it should be taken care while drawing the one moment. Next thing is like distance versus time graph or speed versus time graph they are given. Distance versus time, it can be this way, there is nothing wrong in it. But distance versus time cannot be this way because distance traveled can never decrease. See, if you move, your distance traveled is going to add up only. Whether you move forward or backward, you just have to add, keep adding the distance traveled, right? You can never subtract the distance traveled. Okay. So the distance traveled by a particle, an object, can never decrease with time. Okay. Displacement can decrease because displacement is about how far or close you are from a point. So if you go forward and backward, then while going forward, the displacement keeps on increasing. When you are coming backward, the displacement can decrease, but distance traveled is just something length of the path. So as you keep moving, the path is going to increase only, the length of the path. It can never decrease. Okay. Therefore, distance can never decrease in time. Distance can never decrease with respect to time. So any graph which is given with distance decreasing, I mean increasing and decreasing, that is wrong. It can increase, then stay constant. That means in all this time the particle has stayed at rest because the slope is 0. Then it is again increasing. That is fine. But distance should never decrease. Similarly, speed can decrease, no problem. If v is speed and we are drawing the graph versus time, it is okay. All this is fine. But if somebody gives you speed versus time like this, he is wrong. Speed can never be negative. It can decrease, increase, but it can never be negative. So these two important points, all of you please write. First write displacement versus time. Sorry, distance versus time. Distance versus time. Distance versus time graph. Distance can never decrease with time. It can either stay constant or increase with time, but can never decrease with time. So graphs that show distance, increasing and then decreasing also, they are wrong graphs. I have given you some example on the board also. Distance shall only keep increasing or stay constant, but can never decrease with time. Next point is speed can never be negative. So these things shall be taken care of while we are analyzing the graphs of distance versus time or speed versus time. Okay. See, the point is we have not yet discussed even simplest of the simple examples like like Guntur to Hyderabad. There are 3 ways of going on bus, on train, and on flight. In each case, find the average speed, average velocity, like that. Okay. These kind of questions also we have not done. The reason is we are still acquiring skills on the algebra of all these things. Okay. So algebra of vectors. Okay. I mean that how vectors are related and how we can write equations involving them. Then the vectors are particular vectors like displacement, velocity, and acceleration. That is what we have learned so far. To do it algebraically as well as graphically, that is what we have done so far. Now these are like some math of kinematics. Hereafter, we will get into actual kinematics where we will describe a motion and solve a problem. So that's the important thing we are going to start from tomorrow, and we will describe the one-dimensional motion, write equations, and analyze by solving so many questions in that. Okay, that is precisely what we are going to do tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow onwards, be prepared well. Okay, before the class also, because actual physics is going to start from tomorrow. Okay, the actual physics is going to start from tomorrow. Okay, so please take care. Thank you.